Coucou, c'est Dawn, je continue. Let me go on and teach you how to work with community resources. So I'm going to actually show you a resource that I uploaded already. This will be in French, but I think you can follow along. This is actually adapted from a sentence builder that was posted in the language gym, and then I adapted it for my purposes. So this is first person only, and I titled it, I give credit where it's due, from language gym, so I adapted it for there. So you can see a difference in the teacher created things. You can only do single columns. You cannot have mix and match sections, so smaller chunks. And you need to make sure that it will logically and grammatically work with any combination here. So that takes a lot of thinking on your part. It cannot make agreement. You cannot exclude things and say this won't go together. You notice I included the conjunction a here. That would be y en espagnol. But you could have made that a separate column and had different conjunction choices. However, always keeping in mind, will this make sense? I didn't want to have that be a question, so I did there. So I have my time frame, à l'avenir, dans le futur, etc. I have my verbs in the futur simple, so this is my students learning the futur simple. This is only the first person. And then I have the adjective, the phrase describing what it would be like. Because I'm using ce sera, I don't have to worry about any kind of agreement there. I do have here these forms that I decided to go to. So when I do text-to-speech, it is going to default and only read the masculine version. So there's that there, but there's only so much I could do. If I wanted a separate feminine one, I would have to write either write them separately, separate forms, or have a separate feminine sentence builder. So I could have written this with two separate je serai content, je serai contente. Maybe that'll be something that I edit and go back in and do that. Okay, the same functions apply here. I can change the speed. I can change the sounds. I can change my different options here and do that. And I can full screen it. Okay, when I go to my activities, I'm going to have less activities to do, right? So there's random. Again, if I were doing this on the board or if I were a student working independently, I could do that. When I look at my activities, I will not have paragraphs. I will have vocab chunks activities that I can assign. You see some of the listening choices. Reading will be similar. Dictation, voila. Think of all the time this will save you as a teacher of having to create dictation and translate to French. Again, this is at the chunk level, and then it moves on to the sentence level. And again, this is why it's very important you make sure that all of your combinations will work so that you have sentences that actually function. So again, we go through listen and translate, all the different options, read and translate, and going through. And again, if you usually do these listening activities together as a group or you create them for yourself for students to do online, this would be a huge time saver. So this is a resource that I created. Yes, it's adapted from Language Gym, but I created it. It's going to have what I need my students to know, and they'll be able to do all these activities. Okay. Then circuits, again, will only be sentences in this case because it's a teacher-created resource. Okay? But the circuits are already created there, so it would make it easy for me to assign the circuits there if I wanted to do that. So if I just wanted to do a warm-up, I could have them, a do now, whatever, a bell ring or whatever you call them, where you work. I could assign initially one of these things, one of these short assignments, and then if I wanted to give a longer assignment, I could assign one of these longer circuits. Would make a combination of these. It'll take you a little while to figure out how long it takes the students to do it. You can do it yourself and then multiply by 3 or 4 depending on how your kids work. Generally, that's the formula that works, but again, I would be generous with your time initially. So that's the difference between what the options are when you have a teacher uploaded resource there. I will go ahead and show how you would create your own. So I'm going to go to resources. Let me go back home. All right. And I'm going to say create new resource. right? And then I have directions that are very explicit, explaining to me that I can do columns only with no horizontal divisions, no content that spans multiple columns. All combinations must be viable, so all items in each column work with all other items in other columns. So you cannot do agreement. It cannot figure out masculine, feminine, non-binary endings that cannot be sorted through this kind of thing. You need to make everything needs to work together, or you need to make masculine only, feminine only, non-binary only for things to work. So just to be clear on that, you need to be very, very attentive to things need to make sense together. Okay, this explains you need to have chunks that are longer. When you saw mine, you saw it was pretty long, full clauses or large phrases together, and some of the smaller components that might have their own box in a regular sentence builder have to be combined. So in French, if you're looking at the du, de, la issue or a, au, a la, okay, you're going to need to set it up so those things go with their noun, because you will not be able to sort out which one goes with which noun, if that makes sense. Right, so if I wanted to create my own sentence builder, I'm going to flip over to one that I've made already for mes préférences culinaires that I was going to use with level 1, but it's not working there, and I've made it already. I've set it up. I need to have an equal sign in between my terms. Okay, I would copy and paste and copy. And again, I've looked at this and made sure that I've made sure that all of my columns work with all the others. And I need to add an additional column, so I'm going to hit plus column, and then, I'm going to add 2 columns, and then I have my pausica. I could also have a car there, although I find car formal. That's just my personal feeling about it. And then notice that my last column here, I have a variety of structures there. So, je la trouve, elle est différente, elle ressemble. So I have full clauses here in the final column. So for novices, this would make it fairly complex. So got some complex sentences going on already in level 1. Okay, but all of these go together. I've already set this up with la cuisine, so it's feminine. I've got some feminine stuff going on, so there's no decision to be made about masculine, feminine. Everything will agree with everything else, okay, and it will all go together. If I want to color, I go down here, and I can choose colors based on, I might have a certain way that I like to code. Like me, I like to use green for verbs because it's an action. And then I might go here, and, oops, no, I don't want green again. And then, all right, so you don't have to add color. You can do it if you choose so. And then I have to tell it what language to use text-to-speech. Notice there's choices for the different Englishes there. Not for French, though. That might be something I might ask about. We might want to add a Quebecois accent on there. I'll ask for that. And then there we go. This is what it's going to look like. You can see the English there. Okay, it previews it for me. I'm going to hide the translation, put it back up. And then I'm going to ask it to verify it. It will run through. It'll tell me how many items it will make. It'll make sure I don't have any empty columns. Translations, this is just double checking for you. Okay, and then I would give it a title. Okay, say where I want to put it, whether I want it to be public or private. If you make it public, keep in mind anyone can use it, and they might be able to copy it. That option is coming soon. Okay, etc. And then I would label all that, and then I would do upload resource, and that would upload it for me. Okay, I would be able to come back here and edit this whenever I want to change it. If I find errors or other things that I want to add, I would have the flexibility to be able to do that. Voila.